Alright, I got my boy Sai with me today, and we're going to be going over the alleged gods of the One Piece world. And when I say gods, I mean like the mythical Zoans that represent gods. I mean, obviously, as we've seen with Luffy, once his fruit awakened, he became Sun God Nika. And I want to give all credit to Writing Panini on Twitter. Really love this guy. He's one of my favorite Twitter accounts to follow for One Piece stuff. And he made a thread recently talking about these 4 gods that we were introduced to in the flashback during Skypiea. And I think like 2 years ago, I made a video talking about this stuff, once the Sun God Nika stuff came to light. But he brought up some different options for who these individuals could be, and I thought it was really interesting. Spoiler, the main one that I'm interested in is Chopper. Like, there's a possibility that Chopper could have some kind of mythical Zoan god fruit as well, but we'll get to that. So the first one me and Sai are going to talk about, of course, we got to go over Luffy. We'll just get him out of the way. We all know that he is representing the Sun God. Now, what is the Sun God? Well, his name was Nika, and we don't really know other than that. In my impression of this, I don't know if the Sun God Nika is literally like a real person that existed, more so like an idea that gave birth to the devil fruit, and then Joy Boy, whoever that was, ate it and then became him. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so as far as existing in the world of One Piece, I do believe that. Like, I think there was, like, an actual Joy Boy, and whoever was alive during the Void Century probably ate the Joy Boy Devil Fruit, which would be kind of crazy if you think about it, because that means there's a Joy Boy even beyond that. But I kind of view, this is going to sound goofy, but I kind of view Joy Boy and this Devil Fruit almost as one for all from My Hero. Like, you kind of like pass it down, you're passing down the torch. So I feel like there have been multiple Joy Boys throughout the world and throughout the times, and Luffy's just the newest iteration of it. And whoever was the Joy Boy 900 years ago was just another like pebble in the lake, per se.
Yeah, I kind of got that too. I mean, that is like a recurring thing in these series. Like, in my opinion, Horikoshi, the creator of My Hero, I think he got the whole one for all thing from Avatar: The Last Airbender, if you're familiar with that series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got that and a bunch of other stuff from that as well. But going a little more into the Sun God Nika lore, and we'll move on because we already know about all this stuff, but apparently Joy Boy is based off of a Caribbean and West Indian character. Like, essentially he personifies the human need to dance, and he smiles perpetually, bangs on a drum. Pretty sure this is where Oda got the idea for that. And then just going even further to that, maybe even Joy Boy was inspired by Papa Legba, which is from Caribbean folklore. And if you look at this guy, he looks just like Luffy. Like, he has the straw hat and he wears red, which is fascinating. It's like, did Oda read about this stuff in like mangaka school back in the 90s? Because they do learn about mythology and stuff. But usually it's like Eastern mythology and stuff, like Hinduism, Buddhism, stuff like that. But wow, Oda was really branching out far. That is going to really tie into what we're also going to be talking about in this video, because we know that Oda likes to base a lot of stuff off of mythology and stuff. So back to the flashback during Skypiea, when we saw that woman getting sacrificed. As she was being brought to the altar, they said, God of the sun, God of the rain, God of the forest, God of the earth. And we already talked about God of the Sun, and that confirms that there is at least one of these individuals that was real, or at least there's a devil fruit that represents them. So it makes sense that there would probably be 3 other individuals along with Luffy that represent these things, maybe in the form of devil fruits. So the next one we'll talk about is the God of Rain. Now, who could that be? Well, I mean, maybe it's Luffy's dad, Dragon, because he was introduced with Rain, back in Logetown. But the thing that kind of throws me off about that is he's always associated with wind, right?
Yes, he's always associated with wind. He has like his special wind sound effects. He has this green wind that pops up in the anime whenever he shows up. But with wind comes the rain. So I feel like they are very closely tied.
They are. We actually made an entire video last year just dedicated to going over the possibility of what Dragon's Devil Fruit could be. And obviously it's still up in the air, but if we are going off of the theory that all of these gods are represented by mythical Zoan devil fruits, and that means that, at least in this video, just for the sake of it, Dragon would have a mythical Zoan fruit as well. One that seemingly allows him to control the weather through, I don't know, wind manipulation or something like that, because it seems like he has the ability to strike lightning when he wants, right? Because he, I don't know, in theory, saved Luffy from getting beheaded by Buggy?
Yeah, it's either Dragon brought down the lightning to save Luffy, or Luffy just has the best luck in the world. Which, you know, it could go either way with that one, but I like to believe Dragon's the one who did it. You know, we know that Dragon was on his way here to see Luffy off, so I bet if he saw his son about to get beheaded, he'd probably step in a very incognito way, which would be the lightning. And you know what? Like, I don't know why, but, you know, just, I'm looking at pictures of Dragon right now, and I'm like, yo, like, Dragon, the rain. Do you remember Dance Powder back in Alabasta?
Yes.
I wonder if that was a way to always like tie in Dragon and Luffy, you know, Dance Powder, Luffy because he dances like Sun God Nika, and then after the Dance Powder comes the rain, which would be Dragon. That's a really flimsy comparison or like analogy, but I think that would be pretty cool if there was like some, you know, ulterior element to that Oda touches on later, like the meaning behind Dance Powder, how it got its name and everything.
I think there's definitely something there. I mean, that's what Oda does. He always has like parallels to things and then kind of tells the same story and over again. And I do think Alabasta is for sure telling us something that is either happening or has happened, you know, because it's like the story always relates back to the Void Century, in my opinion. Like whatever Imu and the Gorosei did, we're kind of getting retold that in the first couple arcs of One Piece, like Skypiea, obviously, Alabasta. So I do think that there's probably more of a deeper meaning to the Dance Powder, even though it has been brought up again, but maybe it will again. But as for what Dragon's mythical Zoan fruit could be, in the previous video, which I'll have linked at the end of this one, we talked about him possibly being a Maru, which is from a mythology similar to like Native Americans. And I don't really want to have to go over that again because it was kind of flimsy, to be honest, him being compared to Amaru, even with the markings on his tail being on his face. But there is another option, especially going off of the markings on his face, which we still don't have an explanation for. It probably has something to do with the races that live in the Sky Islands or came from the surface shot up there, as we saw back in the
Shandorians.
The Shandorians.
Yeah.
But apparently his tattoo is based off of the Algonquin tribe, which are Native Americans. And it kind of does look similar. Like maybe that's where Oda got the inspiration for. But they believed in something known as the Thunderbird, which I think we also might have referenced in the Amaru video, but we didn't really go too much into it. But anyway, the Thunderbird is like a legendary creature, you know, in North American indigenous people's history and culture. And it's considered a supernatural being of power and strength that can create thunder by flapping its wings. I don't know, maybe that's something that he could be, which represents him being the god of rain. Again, like I said, it's kind of flimsy at this point, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is the case with Dragon. He is represented as one of these mythical Zoan gods here. It's either that or he has the air wind Logia, which I think would be cool as well, but we'll move on.
I think it would be cool if he had the Wind Logia, but just like how Luffy realized that he was the Sun God, we find out that Dragon was actually the Wind God the entire time. So he got pranked by the Gorosei as well.
Man, they're just retconning everything.
Yeah, they're lying. They're lying about all these fruits. What can you trust now if you can't trust the world government, you know?
Actually, I'm glad you
Sad
brought
days.
that up because it goes more into about the Gorosei lying about these devil fruits. Maybe they weren't just lying about Luffy's fruit. What if they were lying about Chopper's fruit too?
Yes. So you told me about this theory the other day, or you sent it my way, and when I read the Chopper part, I was like, yes, because this is something I have always been a fan of, that Chopper's devil fruit is more than what we are led to believe. There's no way he's a human. He doesn't look human.
No.
That devil fruit, it's fake. I'm telling you. There's something there.
Yeah. I was always confused about this. Ever since I got way into One Piece and started going over the stuff with Chopper's origin, how the fruit works, and even what it looks like. But let's just explain it first. So we're going to be talking about the god of the forest here. Now, before I even get into Chopper, your mind might immediately go to Ryokuyu, because he has like the Forest Logia, is that what his fruit is? Or
Yeah, the Mori Mori no Mi.
Yeah, so you would think, oh wait, no, he's the god of the forest. And to be honest, I can't dispute that. But I'll just say that Ryukyu doesn't really seem to be that significant. Especially him getting ultra jobbed by Shanks. It just doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like
hate to see it.
He is the god of the forest. I mean, he might be the lord of the forest, but I don't know if he's the god.
The god of twerking.
Yeah.
He's just rest in peace, Green Bull. He came in hot. Love to see him. His ideology a little bit scuffed, but he was a cool character.
Yeah.
He had shades on and everything, but man, let me tell you, he got waxed by Shanks from miles away, might I add. Just miles away, he saw Shanks and he said, "Yep, I'm not about this."
So that kind of is the only thing that really makes me go away from him being the god of the forest, and why I think there's more of a possibility of Chopper. So first of all, Chopper ate the Hito Hito no Mi, the human fruit. And that's just what it was. Because usually when we hear about the Hito Hito fruit, it's associated with a freaking mythical Zoan. Like with Luffy. Hito Hito no Mi, model Sun God Nika, right? And then we saw it with Sengoku, model Buddha. Onimaru had a Hito Hito no Mi, model whatever. Oh no, it wasn't even the fox. He was originally a fox, right? And then he ate it.
Yeah, he was originally a fox,
and he
became
ate like a big dude.
Yes, so he has a mythical zone. I got it. I googled it.
I cracked the code.
I cracked the code. Hito Hito no Mi, model Onyudo. It's a mythical Zoan devil fruit that allows you to transform into an Onyudo, which is a large monk yokai. So hey, yokais exist. That's a thing.
Yeah, I mean that's probably, it goes back into our other video that we made about the Gorosei devil fruits, how they possibly have all yokais. Actually, we're going to be talking about a yokai after this. Spoilers, but so yeah, and that's a mythical zone. So it's weird that Chopper's base fruit is just the human fruit. And it's like, wow, pretty convenient that an animal in Chopper ate the human fruit and became a human. And it makes you wonder, like, okay, what if like a person ate the human fruit? Because seemingly it was made for humans, right? Humans are the ones who eat the devil fruits unless they're like given to animals or they just, coincidentally come across them. But this was actually asked to Oda, I think in an SBS. This is usually where questions are asked of him. But he says, if a person ate the Hito Hito no Mi, I suppose I should say they become human. I guess you could say that means like becoming an adult or finding your true spirit or something. So basically, people will live more human-like. Well, I guess you could say that, or not. Basically not. Goodbye. Princess runs away. That's odd.
Yes, that either means that Oda's hiding something or he actually just doesn't have an answer for it. But I like to imagine Oda could cook up a nice plot twist with Chopper here if, there is something more to it. But it is a really interesting SBS nonetheless.
It is, because he doesn't normally, at least from what I've seen, he doesn't normally answer like that. I mean, he does get goofy, but not the whole, like, weird, nervous runaway stuff.
Yeah, like runaway, nervous sweats,
And also, he doesn't have to answer the questions. He could just exclude them if he wants to, so he purposely put that out there.
Yeah.
We also found out, the first time that we were actually introduced to the Blackbeard Pirates, we found out that they had ransacked Drum Island, where Chopper comes from, where he found the fruit. And we never know why they did that. And it's like, there's a theory out there. Maybe they were looking for this fruit.
Yeah, they were looking for Chopper's devil fruit. Like, I feel like that has to be it, because there's nothing else that would explain why Blackbeard decided to attack Drum Island. Because, like, Jaya, for example, right? He went to Jaya with his crew, and Blackbeard didn't slaughter everybody. Yeah. He didn't attack everybody in Jaya. So, no, like, Blackbeard is pretty passive throughout the rest of the series until, obviously, he becomes a warlord and does the whole ace thing. But it's like, okay, Blackbeard wanted something from Drum Island. He made Wapol leave, or Wapol ran away. The people were terrorized, and it's like, okay, for what, though? Like what was he looking for? I feel like it had to be Chopper's devil fruit, or actually no, it has to be Chopper's devil fruit. Like what else is there? Yeah, I was trying to like brainstorm. I was like, oh, he's after the 20 MDs. He's after Wapol, but like no. It has to be something Chopper related. And what's interesting about Chopper too is that Chopper has this running gag where his bounty is always notoriously low. The world government constantly underplays Chopper. They call him the pet of the Straw Hats. cotton candy lover Chopper. And it's like, okay, at first it's like, all right, that's a mistake. Nobody knows who he is, whatever. But when you really think about it, it's like, wait a minute. Is this really a mistake? Like they have CP9 records, right? Like Kumadori fought this guy. He saw Chopper transform. He's not a pet. We saw him time and time again post time skip. Chopper has actively fought Marines, and we still have this narrative where, oh, he's just a pet. He's just a pet. So I think there's something going on with that bounty poster. I feel like they are excluding him or underselling him for some reason. And even on Egghead Island right now, I believe that Chopper being on the Labo phase is significant because Saturn, a man of very few words who has only really said Sun God Nika over and over in his head. I feel like they don't want Saturn and Chopper to meet because if Chopper were to be in close vicinity to Saturn, Saturn might drop us what Chopper actually is. Saturn might explain why Chopper's bounty has always been so low or why he's been underplayed. And even going past that, Chopper beat Kumadori and that's where he got his first bounty on Eni's lobby. I wonder if there's a reason why we didn't use any of Chopper's other forms as his bounty poster. I was actually expecting to see the big monster point Chopper as his bounty poster, but instead we have the normal form. And it's like, okay, something's going on here. Something, Oda's cooking something with Chopper. That is what I believe. And even if you want to go the route and say he is a human and that we're overthinking this, I would argue that having a human devil fruit would be significant as well. The first human, the primordial human, would be insane as a devil fruit. And we haven't really seen anything crazy from Chopper yet. And the reason why I say primordial human or the first human is because we do have a concept of the Adam and Eve tree. So I feel like whatever Oda's cooking up with Chopper's devil fruit, it's going to be absolutely disgusting in a good way.
Yeah, I think
so. Yeah, that's my Chopper rant.
I think so too. And this also finally is a great payoff for his character as well. Aside from him just curing whatever. It's yeah, that's expected of him. But for him to... And what we're getting at is with the whole, if Saturn doesn't see him, he'll figure it out, or why they're downplaying his bounty because they don't want hype on him. It's because he could have this forest god mythical zone, whatever it is. Writing Panini thinks it could be forest god Cern Unos, which is associated with nature, fertility, the wilderness. It's like a guy with antlers or whatever, but we haven't seen, obviously, Chopper awaken his devil fruit. And considering that it is a zone, and the trajectory that we've been on, he has to awaken it at some point. And I know that people think that monster point is him awakening it. And at first we thought, maybe that is it because it seems like it, similar to the jailer beast from Impel Down. But now that we know that the awakened Zoans have the rings of clouds around them to indicate that they have been awakened, like a true awakening, we have to see that with Chopper. So
oh, yeah.
When Chopper's fruit does awaken, which I think it will, maybe we'll have this big reveal. It's like, oh my god, he's the forest god. He was actually a mythical Zoan this whole time. Because going even more into that, the fruit itself looks like a mushroom. And it's like, why would the human fruit look like a mushroom? That's weird, right?
It's not exactly what you'd expect, right?
Yeah.
I would expect some human-shaped cookies or something before that.
His ability to speak to animals, all animals. It's one thing if he could just talk to other reindeers. Yeah, I get it. But he could communicate with all animals.
Yeah, that is not something a human could exactly do, Not a human feat, I would say.
Yeah, so are we just supposed to chalk that up to because he's an animal, he could just talk to all animals? Or is it the fruit?
Yeah, that's something I never thought about, yeah? Chopper's a reindeer, sure, he can talk to maybe a bear, yeah, sure, other reindeers, cool. But, he's over here talking to, the Kung Fu Dugong from Alabasta, and it's like, yo, those are turtles! Those are turtles and seals! What do you mean he's talking to them? I think another thing with Chopper that I find kind of interesting as well is that Chopper, when you think about him in the Rumble Ball and how the Rumble Ball can transform him into different shapes and sizes, it's like, okay, that's pretty plausible because we saw that with Beppo as well. But now I'm wondering, wait, is this Luffy and his gears? How Luffy has gear 2nd, gear 3rd, gear 4th? Is this Chopper just tapping into the different forest god gears here? And even past that, going back to the concept of a forest god, when you think of a forest god, you can go to dryads, you can go to mythological creatures, and I'd say 7 out of 10, or maybe even 8 out of 10. Almost every iteration of a forest god can transform into any animal inside of a forest. I don't know what it is. I don't know how, mankind always comes back to that one concept, but that's kind of what Chopper is doing here. He can transform into like any shape and size he wants, as long as he, concoct some sort of medicine.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. He is kind of going through the stages of bringing out the full potential of his devil fruit without fully awakening it yet, same as Luffy did.
Dude, I'm excited, man. If Chopper really is the forest god, I'm gonna be so excited. I want some Chopper feats, bro. Like, I just rewatched Wano for the second or third time, and let me tell you, Chopper, people are hyping up Chopper like, yo, he took on Queen, he kind of fought Perospero, but it's like, it's not enough for me, man. I'm greedy. I want more. Give me more Chopper feats.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Smack someone down.
I mean, that's the whole reason I wanted to make this video, because of the possibility of him having a possible Zoan that could be awakened into the forest god.
Please, Oda, please.
The last one, which we're just going to glaze over here because we've talked about Emu. Spoiler, Emu is possibly the last god that we're going to be talking about here, god of the earth. We've talked about Emu so many times, and we will continue to talk about them until we get enough information on them, but it's very likely that Emu represents the god of the earth, and whatever their Zoa or their mythical Zoan is, it just relates to being the god of the earth in some way. Could be some kind of yokai. We've talked about the Umibozu before. There's another possibility that they're the Nure Ona, which could be play on Neurona Emu, their name. Nure Ona Umi, which is a snake with a woman's head. And there's other things that point to Emu being the earth because, the Gorosei all represent the planets in the solar system, and they revolve around the earth on a geocentric model. So that's probably where Oda was going with that. Yeah, that's it for Emu. But I'll end this video with, why are these gods a thing? Like, why are they important? Why are these the 4 mythical Zoan gods? It could be because they all pertain to the balance of this world, because it goes back into the Aztecs. They believed that these gods were necessary for the sun to rise and fall each day, so they all worship them individually. And the Aztecs, of course, goes back to what Oda was basing the Shandorans off of. Even this altar that we see this woman being brought to for sacrifice, it's obviously based off of the Aztecs. So this could all go into that. And it can also go into what the Gorosei or Venus, Samurai Gandhi, said: the balance of the world cannot be maintained forever. It could also be going into what they were talking about with the Yonkos and the Marines and the Warlords and the world government, which also, interestingly enough, 4. But it could just be these 4 gods all needing to maintain balance in some way or another. But that's pretty much it for now. Mainly just really wanted to talk about Chopper and the possibility of his fruit being awakened. But
how many people are making Chopper videos, right?
Yeah,
we need it.
Exactly. And also just
we need the
prospect of what his awakened Zoan would look like would be really awesome. Like a way more humanoid version of Chopper with the big long antlers and the clouds coming around him. It would be sick because even Lucci's awakened fruit looks pretty cool. So just imagine a forest god awakened mythical Zoan. That would be incredible. But
imagine Chopper transforming into every animal known to mankind.
That too.
He would be like Beast Boy from Teen Titans.
Oh, I miss Beast Boy. I mean, I from the original.
Yeah, rest in peace.
But
yeah, original Beast Boy. Yeah, I agree.
But that's pretty much it for this one. Thank you again, Sai, for coming along for another discussion.
Of course, man.
Everybody, subscribe to Sai, as always.
Don't.
Oh, well, don't subscribe to either of us.
Don't subscribe to me.
Don't subscribe to anybody.
I got 3 YouTube channels. Which one do you go to? Yeah, don't go to any of them, please.
Yeah, I'll have them all linked in the description as always. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.